Let's stretch before reaching, shall we? Red Taylor's version came out and it's lived rent-free in my mind ever since I first listened to it at 11 p.m. November 11th. So I thought I'd make a video on the vault tracks and how they fit into her discography as a whole. Now, you might have heard some of these before. This is just, a fun list that I came up with. So let's begin. I'd like to think of Better Man as the aftermath to Tolerate It. Hear me out. So both songs deal with the concept of love being pushed away or rejected or just not received well. And I think the best lyric that kind of sums all this up is from Better Man, which is, I gave you my best and we both know you can't say that. Now in both cases we know the love started out well, because in Tolerate It she says, where's that man who'd throw blankets over my barbed wire? So clearly he cared at some point. Same with Better Man, where she says, I wish I could forget when it was magic. But in both cases the love just kind of grew stagnant, kind of pushed away or just tolerated. Where in Tolerate It she says, you tolerate it. And in Better Man she says, like I'd always be around. And then in the grand finale to this, in Tolerate It, you can hear her contemplating. She says, gain the weight of you, then lose it. Believe me, I could do it. And in Better Man, we can see that she did, even though he never expected her to. You never thought I'd run. And we also know that this was a very difficult thing for her to do, because the bravest thing I ever did was run. So that contemplation actually came through and she left him in Better Man. Similarly, the red parallel, I think, would be I Almost Do, which is almost the third part to this, because it's all about reminiscing and wanting that love back, but knowing that it's not good. Hence in the bridge where she says, you're asking me if I want to try again with you, and I almost do. But she almost does. She doesn't. In all of the cases, she chooses what's best for her, even though it's a difficult choice.
When I'm nothing new.
Nothing New goes hand in hand with Say It With Me, Mirrorball. Both songs obviously deal with the concepts of relevancy and the fear of losing it. Mirrorball is more about trying very hard to preserve it, with lines like, I'm shining just for you and I'm still trying everything to keep you looking at me. In Nothing New, it's more about the fear. Oh Lord, what will become of me once I've lost my novelty, and are we only biding time till I lose your attention? I think all of that kind of also ties in the same vein of the red parallel of The Lucky One. In The Lucky One, she sings, and all the young things line up to take your place. In Nothing New, she says, I know I'm gonna meet her, it's a fever dream, the kind of radiance you only have at 17. It's very interesting because right after that line, she says, and she'll say she got the map from me. And in The Lucky One, she says, it was a few years later I showed up here and they still tell the legend about how you disappeared. And later she says, I think I understand it now. So it's interesting that in The Lucky One, Taylor is the new thing. She's following in the footsteps of, the person from The Lucky One. And then in Nothing New, she's lost that relevancy now, and that isn't the case anymore. Now this one's kind of a reach, but imagine the other side to illicit affairs. So as we know, illicit affairs is about two people, specifically the girl, who are in this, affair. Babe would be the perspective of the person being cheated on. Now this directly corresponds to the Sugarland music video for this song, where Taylor is the other girl. And in that music video, you can see her crying and truly believing that he would have left his wife for her. In Illicit Affair, she talks about how this kind of love lies and lies and lies a million little times. The red parallel here would be I Knew You Were Trouble. Hear me out on this one too. She has that line, you never loved me or her or anyone. Very similar to that concept I just described in Babe and Illicit Affairs, that he never really cared or loved any of the women that he was involved with. And then maybe he was trouble because she knew that he was in a relationship and he shouldn't try to get with her. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily the truth or anything, but I think it's a fun spin on this song. It could also be the other side to Girl at Home, where the protagonist of Babe is the girl at home. Message in a Bottle deals with the concept of liking someone, knowing they like you back, but just kind of being afraid, but in a fun, upbeat kind of way. I present to you, I think he knows. Message in a Bottle is definitely the most pop/lover-esque of all the Vault songs, so it makes a lot of sense that it correlates with I Think He Knows, but I think it's the prequel to that song. Because she sings, I know that you like me, and it's kind of frightening. So I think it's the beginning stages where she knows that he likes her back, but she's kind of afraid about it. And then as the relationship goes on, she gains the more confident vibe of I Think He Knows. The red parallel is Come Back Be Here. She has that line, How is it in London? Where are you while I'm wondering if I'll ever see you again? Which directly corresponds with, but you're in London and I break down, and taxi cabs and busy streets that never bring you back to me. He's far away and she wants him to come back, and he isn't there, obviously. I also think that there's a plane sound effect in Message in a Bottle that could just be the plane that took you. It could be a car. I'm not entirely sure what that is, but it kind of sounds like a plane. I also think that Message in a Bottle might have been cut from the original album because it was so similar thematically to Come Back Be Here, that there was already a song like that and they cut it, which is so disappointing because we all know that would have been our 2012 summer bop, and like I scream sing it every single time I hear it.
I bet you think about me.
So this song, even though it's clearly about Jake Gyllenhaal, it reminds me a lot of Mr. Perfectly Fine. And not just because of that Mr. Superior Thinking line, but just because it's so salty and very directed towards someone. It's like the saltiness of Mr. Perfectly Fine and the savagery of Dear John, because some of these lines are straight up murder. The one that's prominently featured in the chorus, which is, "It's hard to believe I'm harder to forget than I was to leave." Which, by the way, as an aside, I would like to say is a definite callback to that line in Long Story Short, which is, "I always felt I must look better in the rear view, missing me at the Golden Gates they once held the keys to." But there's also these other lines like, does it make you feel sad that the love that you're looking for is the love that you had? I don't need to be your shrink to know that you'll never be happy. I mean, get wrecked. The Red parallel to this song is kind of hard, but I think it has the same FU vibes as We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together. And that indie music thing really ties it together because it's also another song very clearly about Jake Gyllenhaal. I would also like to ask, am I crazy, or did she add a laugh after she says indie record that's much better than mine in Taylor's version, or was that always there in the original album? Because I feel like it's new and she like laughs because she now has an indie album. I don't know. Am I crazy? The only other song that deals with mental illness in this capacity is This Is Me Trying. I think that This Is Me Trying is the other side to Forever Winter. Forever Winter is about someone reaching out and hoping and begging and trying to keep someone, from preventing them from doing something horrible. Whereas This Is Me Trying is from the perspective of the person who actually has, who's dealing with the mental health problems. I believe, I've heard rumors anyway, that this song is actually about a friend of hers that overdosed. I haven't looked into it and I don't really want to, just because, I don't want to be insensitive or anything, but I think that would make a lot of sense because of the concepts and themes that underlie this song. And I don't really know what the Red parallel would be here at all, actually. So if you guys have any ideas, let me know.
And run.
Run is the yin to Getaway Car's yang. Well, Getaway Car is this fast, upbeat song about leaving and driving and running. It has very negative connotation. Run is this soft and sweet thing, like run where no one else is. Run like you'd run from the law, versus in Getaway Car, it's driving the getaway car, we were flying but we'd never get far. There were sirens in the beat of your heart. Run is about running towards something, and Getaway Car is about running away from something. In this case, something being love. I think the Red parallel would be Everything Has Changed, and not just because of the Ed Sheeran feature, just because it's a very love positive song, and I think Run is the more mature ending to Everything Has Changed, because Everything Has Changed is a very soft and sweet beginning to this really amazing love, and Run would be kind of what became of it. There's very few love positive songs on this album in general, so maybe the case could be made for Stay, Stay, Stay.
The very first night.
Okay, this one might be a reach, but remember Dorothea? In 'Tis a Damn Season, she says, "And the road not taken looks real good now and always leads to you in my hometown." Versus in The Very First Night, she says, "I drive down different roads, but they all lead back to you." There's also this context of these friends that don't seem to understand, because in 'Tis a Damn Season, she says, "And my so-called friends who'll write books about me if I ever make it." Versus in The Very First Night, she says about how her friends don't understand. They don't know about the night in the hotel. They don't know the note. They don't know the words that we whispered. They just don't know about this affair. I know that the thing that breaks this is the fact that she says night out in LA, and it's clear from Dorothea that the love interest stayed in the hometown. But it's my personal headcanon that after the events of 'Tis a Damn Season, he actually came to visit her in LA for a night in a hotel. The red parallel is definitely way less of a reach. I think it's pretty much the same thematically to Holy Ground. Also, a lot of people have a lot to say about the fact that you doesn't rhyme. Now, Gaylors don't come at me, but I truly don't think that she's trying to say her. The woman wrote a song about pride. I feel like she would have come out if she needed to. And because we always say, oh, Taylor Swift does everything very purposefully, why would we ignore the purposeful nature of it here just because it doesn't fit with what we expect? Like, clearly she did that for a reason. So I saw this TikTok by this girl who I think explained it very well, and I'll link to it down below because I think it's the best understanding of this song that I've heard so far. Not only would it be changing the tense to say her instead of you, in Holy Ground, she has that line, is back to a first glance feeling on New York time, back when you fit my poems like a perfect rhyme. In the very first night, you is the one thing that doesn't rhyme because they're not back in that time. It is not like how it used to be. He doesn't fit her poems like a perfect rhyme anymore. She wants him to, she wants him back, but he doesn't. So I think that that's what it's really referencing, is the is not supposed to rhyme because it's not like how it used to be.
The end.
And with that, I'll conclude my Vault Tracks Extended Universe analysis. All Too Well 10-minute version is a beast unto itself, and so if you guys are interested, I'll do a separate video on all the theories and the deep dive into that song and movie and all that. But for now, I'll leave it here. This was so much fun to do. I mean, Taylor Swift is definitely like one of the best lyricists of our entire generation, and her lyrics deserve this kind of analysis. I know not everything is gonna fit or make sense, but this was just in the fun spirit of swiftie theorizing, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. Please leave comments on your kind of connections that you made, if you agreed with anything I said, if you have differences. I'd love to hear about it. And subscribe if you want more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!